from Posen. They just had, my daughter is married to Akiva Posen, so they just had a bris on Shabbos. They named the baby Rafi after Rabbi Posen. He knew Tanakh. He used to teach Tanakh for many years in Bar Ilan University, I think before they taught Michlala. He was an expert. So he made Tanakh so fascinating. He would make it Levitic. He would show you a Radak over there and a Malbim over here and a this over there. He'd put everything all together. He was always Levitic. His grandfather was the Dayan for Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, Dayan Posen. Dayan Posen, after Rabbi Hirsch passed away, he was the Dayan for his son. He was the Dayan for Reb Shlomo Breuer. He was the Dayan in Frankfurt. That Reb Chaim Moiser, as the Chuvas, the Dayan Posen. And Rafi Posen's father was the Michael. He was the son of the Dayan. So Rafi Posen had Yekishet traditions. Had a lot of Yekishet. He had his niggin for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, the davening. He was the Baltfil and Karmiyav many years. His davening was the Yekishet davening, but he had a beautiful voice. Some of the Yekkes don't have a good voice. So you hear them davening for an Omer, it's awful. I used to be the rabbi in the Yekishet shul in Paramus in New Jersey. It was a branch of Breuer's at that time. So it was a very small kehillah, maybe between 15 and 20 families, very tiny. And the Baltfil Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur didn't have a good voice. So it was awful. But then when we heard Chaz and Posen, oh, that's what it was supposed to be. That's what the niggin was supposed to be. Beautiful. He had a good voice, and he knew what the niggin was. He had all the minhagim. He learned in Slobodka in Bnei Brak, and then he felt guilty not serving in the army. So he sent a shaila to the Stipler. The Stipler was hard of hearing, so it was hard to carry on a conversation with him. So you had to write on a pad of paper. I remember when I visited the Stipler, I had never visited Eretz Yisrael before. So I was married a few years, but didn't have any children yet. So he came to Eretz Yisrael to be blessed with children. The Gemara says that we weren't married 10 years. If you lived 10 years with your wife, you didn't have children. So maybe if you live in Chutz La'aretz, maybe it's Oven Chutz La'aretz Gorah. Maybe it's because you lived in Chutz La'aretz. The Gemara says maybe if you moved to Eretz Yisrael, you have children. So we were married a while, we didn't have any children. So we came to visit Eretz Yisrael in the summertime. So I went, we were in Bnei Brak for a while, because my wife's grandfather spent a lot of time in Bnei Brak at the end of his life. So someone said, go to the Stipler, get a bracha. I said, who's the Stipler? I never heard of him. At that time, we never heard of him in America. They said he's a big Talmid Chacham. He wrote a lot of svarim. You go, what you do, you go to his home. You ask him to buy a sefer, and then you ask him for a bracha. So I said, okay. So I don't know if I'd like the sefer. So the yeshiva was going to learn Kiddushin. This was in the summertime. She was going to learn Kiddushin in September. So I came to his home, and he was hard of hearing. So he screams out in Yiddish, what can I do for you? He has a pad of paper. So I write down, I want to buy a sefer on Kiddushin. So he climbs up on the ladder, he gets the sefer, he blows off the dust, he wipes it off, wipes off all the dust. Then he gives me the sefer, and I give him the money, and he starts giving me a quarter change or something. So I said, you can keep the change. He says, he doesn't need donations. He says, he's not a poor man, he doesn't need it. He gives me the quarter change. Then he screams out in Yiddish, what else can I do for you? So I wrote down on a pad of paper that I'm married, I don't have any children. Can you give me a bracha? So he gives me a bracha, we should have children. Then he screams out, what else can I do for you? So I wrote down, I was a Rebbe in yeshiva at that time. It was the end of the first year I had taught in yeshiva. This is the 50th year that I'm teaching in YU. So that was the first year. So it was 49 years ago. So I was embarrassed to say I was a Rebbe because I was clean shaven. It's going to give me a hard time. So I wrote down, I learned in a kollel, can you give me a bracha? I should be matzliach on learning. So he screams at me in Yiddish, he says, all the brachas in the world are not going to help. Sit and learn, and you'll be matzliach. That's what he told me. All the brachas don't help. Sit and learn, you'll be matzliach. So my Posen, Rafi Posen, it was difficult to carry on a conversation. I had to write on the pad of paper. So he sent him a letter. He feels guilty not serving in the tzava. Is it okay if he goes to learn in Keren B'Yavneh? Because they have a hesder, they have a tzava. So he sent it back a letter. Yes, you should go learn in Keren B'Yavneh. It's okay to serve in tzava. So he came to Keren B'Yavneh. That's when he started davening for Anam. When he was a bacher, he started davening here. So for many years, people told him that they don't think it's right that he should be mefarsim the letter of the Stipler, because maybe he wouldn't want it to be mefarsim. I don't know, for some reason or another. So he never printed the sefer. till after the disciple had passed away. And then I think Kermiyam publicized the letter. They publicized the letter. The disciple said it's permissible to learn in Kermiyam. You're allowed to go to the army, it's permissible to learn Kermiyam. He was a little deaf on one ear because when he was in the army, he lost his hearing on one of the ears. He had to talk to me, he had to stand on the other side. Yes. He used to have zechronos from Rabbi Cheskel Abramsky. Rabbi Abramsky used to be the dayan in London, and then when he retired to Eretz Yisrael, he used to give shiurim in Beit V'Gan every Shabbos afternoon, and every week he would travel, he was invited, every week he would travel by taxi to Bnei Brak and give a shiur in Slobodka Yeshiva, and then go back to Yerushalayim. So he said every single week, Rabbi Abramsky would come to the yeshiva, to Slobodka Yeshiva. He would go into the Rosh Yeshiva's office and ask him permission to say a shiur in the Beis Medrash. What do you mean permission? He invited him to come. He would ask permission to give a shiur in the Beis Medrash. He gave him permission, then he went and he gave the shiur. He said he always had zechronos of Rabbi Abramsky, how mesudadik he was, and how he dressed very nicely, and how the shiurim was so organized and everything. And he had so many zechronos about Rav Goldvich, Zachon Levracha, who founded the yeshiva here. Pleasant zechronos. Rav Goldvich was a talmid of both the Chazon Ish and Rav Elvel Soloveitchik, and he was a blend, a little from the Chazon Ish and a little from Rav Elvel. Rav Goldvich's a very colorful individual. I remember the first summer that I came to Eretz Yisrael was after I was teaching in the yeshiva. So I mentioned to the students at the end of June that I'm going to go visit Eretz Yisrael. So one of the boys in my class was I forgot his name. They donated a lot of things there from Ottawa. I forgot his name already. So he said, when I come to Eretz Yisrael, I should call him up, and I should be his guest. I should come to the yeshiva for Shabbos. So I called on the phone. It was the payphone in the yeshiva. There was only one payphone in the yeshiva. I called on the phone. So I hear this croaky voice. Hello. So I said, is so-and-so there? I forgot his name, the bacher. So he said, no, who's speaking? I said, this is Herschel Schachter. Oh, that was Rav Goldberg. He answered the phone. So he said, what can I do for you? So I said, this boy wanted me to be his guest. No, you got to be my guest on Shabbos. So he was very colorful person. Anyway, but Rafi Posen was, every time I would visit Eretz Yisrael, I would always make a point of visiting Rafi Posen. He would talk in Tanakh, He always had beautiful things to say. His work, his dissertation, his doctoral dissertation was on Unkelos. So he collected everything that anybody ever said on Unkelos, and he put it together. I think he put out 2 volumes during his lifetime, Bereshis and Shmos, and then the children are going to put out the rest. He used to write essays for the newspapers, and now that I think my son-in-law told me there for the cover the first Yortzah, he died on Purim last year, on Shushan Purim. So the cover the first Yortzah, they're going to put out a volume, a collection of many, I don't know, all and many of the essays that he had written over the years. Oh, he's fascinating essays. Mm-hmm. Yeah.